comes to life on the pitch. Respect has been earned, and credibility has been conceived by commitment to the game. This is where passion for one game is paramount. This is where the love for one game is undeniable. This is where one game, and one game only, is found on OneSoccer.
Welcome to Paramaribo, Suriname, and welcome back to the Concacaf Nations League. O'Shea off the post, off 2 posts. You have got to be kidding me. Becker, a chance and it goes off the bar. Stacchio knocks it down for David to Osorio, up and over. David brings that down expertly. David across, off the forward end. Junior Hoylett, and that does it, giving the Canadians a 1-goal edge heading back home to BMO Field on Tuesday.
Along the shores of Lake Ontario on a windy and damp night, the Canadian men look to book their ticket to the Nations League Final Four. They take a 1-goal lead into tonight's match versus Suriname, and the action is coming up from inside BMO Field in Toronto, right here on OneSoccer. As you see the teams arriving. A little bit cool, it is chilly, it is November in Canada, but the heat is on for the Canadians to qualify for that Final Four. As we welcome you to Matchday Live. We are live inside BMO Field. Andy Petrillo, Jordan Wilson, John Conway, and Christian Jack with you. Well, as you saw off the top, it wasn't pretty in leg one, but it still was a victory for the Canadian men. The substitute Junior Hoylett in the 82nd minute got the goal that gave them the victory, 1-0. And now the goal again, end of March in Inglewood, California, will be the Final Four for Nations League. And Jordan, when you also look at the other teams in CONCACAF, Mexico kind of struggling a little bit here, what kind of opportunities does Canada have this year in particular to make that Final Four, make something happen? By the way, 3 additions, all won by the United States.
It has to feel like the time. I mean, you look at CONCACAF and the teams that are in it, John, who should they fear? Like, you look at this Canadian side, you think back to last June when they lost the Nations League finals to the U.S., and I thought they were the better side of the U.S. on the day. But you think how this team has come together, how they have a new form, they have a new system, everyone's bought in. They're, for me, one of the most dangerous teams in CONCACAF. And if it's not now, you have to think when. This has to be the time that Canada go and take it to the other teams in this nation.
Yeah, this is the time for them to really progress and really start to win trophies in this competition and in competitions in general. I think that's the next logical step for this team, KJ, in that they got to win a trophy, they got to hold a trophy up for the nation to see to really springboard this into 2026.
Yeah, it all starts tonight, right? They just got to get through. I think it's, quickly how far they've come is the story. I mean, 1 year ago, they lost to Jamaica in this stadium when they're up by a goal and didn't get to that Final Four where we're now all saying that they feel like they belong. It's game 14 of 2024. It's the final game. And it's been a remarkable year. It will be the year of Jesse Marsch, the year of Copa America, the year of finally Canada turning a corner and going forward. But all of that means nothing if they don't get the job done here. They've got 90 minutes to say it's been a great year. But first, they've got to get the job done tonight.
Get the job done here, get themselves in a position, of course, because when we even speak about advancement of this program, KJ, it is winning the trophy. A couple years ago that you're alluding to, Jordan, it was all that excitement where they did make it to the final, their last trophy coming in 2000, Gold Cup. But if they don't start winning trophies, how does that affect our conversation around their progress?
Well, I think, if anyone's watching for the United States or Mexico and they're hearing that they're saying that Canada should be favorites, they're still laughing, right? Ultimately, because they know how to win trophies and they know how to be the quote-unquote kings of CONCACAF. Canada can't be that until they lift that trophy. Now, quietly, they believe, and they're very believing in the sense that they know that this is their time. But they've got to still win tonight. They've got to be able to progress. And then when it comes to the Final Four, they've got decisions to make. Who's going to be available for them. We don't know which priority over Nations League or Gold Cup. But it feels, you're right, it does feel like they've been onto something for some time here, starting back in 2021. And now they've got a number of these squad members that have been together through good and bad, John. And it feels like there's something building, and they've just got to get this job done tonight.
Absolutely agree. There is something building here and something moving in the right direction with this club or with this team and the nation following this team. I think you hit a good point, though. The USA is still the top team at this point. Their results over Jamaica in the last 2 games, very strong performances. They are the leaders in CONCACAF. And until Canada comes in and knocks them off in a major competition, they're still going to be there. And I think they have a good opportunity. They're moving in the right direction. They're progressing in the right direction. And tonight is a big step. Tonight is a huge step for them to get a result at home and move on to the semifinals.
Quickly, I'll just say belief is one thing, but having proof is another. Like when you have that hardware and that silverware, you know, like, hey, we've done this. We're the better team. You got the better view on the day. Then you can walk with your chest held high. And that's why the whole Kings of CONCACAF, I understand in terms of the vibe and the new kids on the block. But if you want to really have something and say that you're the best, you have to be the best. It's just as simple as that.
And it starts tonight to make that Final Four. Earlier, KJ had a chance to catch up with head coach Jesse Marsch.
Jesse, what are some of the things you want your team to have in the forefront of their mind as they take the pitch tonight?
Well, I think we need to have a good start and, you know, not play passive, but play aggressive, go after them, put them in a really hard game, bring the crowd into the match. And then I think discipline. This is what we harped on when we were down there, that over the 90-minute match, that we would be more disciplined, that we would be more in control of the match, that we wouldn't let it get open and let their good attacking players get out into free space. So that'll be important for tonight as well.
3 changes, as expected. Kyle Larin is back, but you've gone with Schwaner instead of Kone and Miller instead of Waterman. Why?
Well, I think having some fresh legs after the travel, the turnaround, everything will be important for us. Kyle obviously brings a lot when he comes back into the match. We think that Matty specifically can cover a lot of ground and is responsible in the midfield, which will be helpful for us. And then Kamal Miller, I think, has grown a lot into what I've asked him to become and to be more aggressive. And so we feel like with his ball playing skills as well as his defensive skills that, you know, it's a big chance for him to continue to show in this group with what I'm trying to do with the team that he understands and can commit to it and can deliver.
Good way to wrap up 2024 right here in Canada.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit before the match, and I'm really thankful to be here. It's been a great year, but I said to them that the best way to end the year and the only way to end the year is to make sure we take care of this match. So our concentration will be sharp tonight.
Thanks, Jesse. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
On the vein of discipline, there were 29 fouls in leg 1, 15 by Suriname, 14 by Canada. But he's right in the fact that the Canadians don't react when we know these other teams try to get under their skin and get chippy. As we take a look at the starting 11 here, brought to you by GE. KJ, we heard you talk about some of those changes where Larin is back in there. Miller now as well is going to get that start alongside Bombito, and Schwaner comes into the midfield. But let's look back at that leg 1, Jordan, and did it feel a little bit like a tale of 2 halves between the first and second? What did you make of that game?
Yeah, initially when we watched it, KJ, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I thought it was a bit disjointed. I watched it back. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but for me, it was still Canada where you expect them to be dominant, you expect them to have passes and flow and quality. One, set pieces weren't good, and that's an area that Jesse Marsch has spoken about that needs to be better moving forward. It was poor. Maybe Schwaner helps with that as well. Maybe he's the guy taking corners and set pieces tonight. But I think with this team, they're expected to go front foot, and there are moments where they're a bit fragmented, and that can't happen when Canada's playing, John. They need to be a team that they go and press. You even see in this clip here with Schafferberg on the wing as well. He really thrives in space when he can gallop, and you see here that the pitch obviously had something to do with it, but just these little passes around the corner that allowed Suriname to maybe get into the game a little bit more. Granted, they didn't have a shot on goal, but this here as well, the corners that are going back post, they just need to find a way to start the game better and get into it much quicker, Canada.
Obviously saw the opponent in the first game sat back and allowed Canada to have a lot of possession. So tonight, what I'd like to see from Canada is just better in those possessions, better in the final third, more clinical in front of goal, better wide areas, getting balls into dangerous spots for these forwards to finish. Obviously, you get Larin into the match tonight, who's going to be aggressive, getting in runs into the box. Just need to get good services, and I think that needs to be better in their build-up to create opportunities.
Yeah, I think that's all very fair. You know, look, it was a good performance. It wasn't great. It was good. I think the biggest storyline out of it, though, is Jesse Marsch's reaction to it, where he said we were in complete control and he was very happy with the performance. I think that's fascinating when you think about where he's come from, where he's held this club in such high standards and regards. And he was almost harder on them when they played Argentina and Venezuela and Uruguay and Peru. And then when he played this team and they weren't in control, he almost said, this is not my time to go after these guys at the moment. Make no mistake, I think privately he believes that it wasn't anywhere near the level that he wants it to be, but he understands they've got to go again tonight. And I think that the mindset, the way he's getting this team on board is the biggest storyline.
Let's keep something in mind here. They won. I mean, they got the job done down there. That's first and foremost what you need to do. And going to these places, it's not going to be pretty a lot of times, but to get the win, get back here, and take care of business here is a big thing. And they were able to do that in a tough conditions.
And if they score those 2 100% chances the first half, then I probably wouldn't be saying anything at halftime, right?
How did the physics, Tanny? One post rolls, hits the other post, decides to go out.
You're still talking about physics?
Yeah.
I'm still confused.
I don't know. Because I just don't understand why the ball didn't go in. And I'm sure Tanny's still wondering how it didn't go in.
He's still upset.
It's okay. Junior got the goal for them. Let's now hear from the two gentlemen who called leg one, and we'll be doing so once again here inside BMO Field. That would be Gareth Wheeler and Jimmy Brennan.
Thank you very much. Jimmy, the 1-0 result perhaps flattered the home side, Suriname, in the first leg. But it's difficult for any country in CONCACAF to travel within this region. Why is it so difficult, and what do you make of the result because of that?
Look, I know firsthand just how difficult it is when you're traveling away from home in CONCACAF. There's so many elements that you have to deal with. A lot of these players as well flew from Europe into Miami. They were there for a few days. Then it's another flight into Suriname. But then you've got the weather, the humidity. You're playing on artificial turf that was very, very slick at the time. It takes a while to adjust. Fatigue sets in. And these are the types of games that you've just got to manage. You've got to try to put a professional performance in for 90 minutes and get something out of the game, which they did. It's not always going to be beautiful football, but to come away 1-0, they'll be happy with that and to get this team here back in Toronto.
I think we felt similar about Canada this time last year at this very stage of the tournament. They went down and played a better team in Jamaica, Jimmy, but same scenario. They come back home with a 1-goal advantage. We all know what a nightmare that was. November 21st of 2023, the goalkeeper juggling the ball, they concede 3, and they get knocked out of the competition. Now, a lot has changed since that time, but now, what does Canada need to do tonight to avoid that scenario replaying itself all over again?
Well, look, they're at home. It's a cool night. They're on grass. They'll have the supporters behind them. Tonight, they've got to dictate the whole match. They've got to be on the front foot. They're at home, and they've got to control the tempo within this match. I don't think you'll be seeing the sloppy passes that you saw playing on that artificial turf. I think the tempo is going to be a lot higher than what it was down in Suriname, and I expect a good performance from this Canadian team today.
Canada did score 2 goals that night against Jamaica in a losing effort last year. Under Jesse Marsch, they failed to score more than 2 goals in a game thus far. Is this tonight where Canada starts finishing their chances?
Well, that's the hope, and Jonathan David is someone who knows how to put the ball in the back of the net, and yes, it was Junior Hoylett who got the goal in leg 1, but it was a beautiful pass by Jonathan David that set him up. When we return here on Matchday Live on OneSoccer, KJ had a chance to sit down with the man they call the Iceman.
Gatorade, with electrolytes to help replenish what's lost in sweat, carbs to help fuel your working muscles, and fluids to help you hydrate. Scientifically formulated so you never stop competing.
I do this for my town, my time, my time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Rehydrate, replenish, refuel. Gatorade.
Canadian soccer fans, we're different. We cheer on the Reds while cheering out our motherlands and each other's lands. Soccer is in our hearts. Our roots are on display. Not to divide, but to unite. Because to us, soccer's more than just a game. It's who we are. From coast to coast to coast, it connects us all.
Cheers to us. Cheers to the game.
What makes a Burnbrae egg a Burnbrae egg? For generations, we've put more goodness in, so you get a whole lot more out of every single delicious egg. A lot goes into a little at Burnbrae Farms.
You know, it was January 30th, 2022, and Kyle Larin surpassed Dwayne Osorio as the all-time scorer for the Canadian men, but almost immediately Jonathan David became part of the chase. And in October, Larin scored first against Panama to take sole possession of first with 30, but then David answered in that same game. And you know what? One of the best goal scorers in Concacaf is Canadian. KJ sat down with Jonathan David.
Christian Jack with one of the hottest strikers in the world right now, Jonathan David. Thanks for joining me. We're going to have some fun, some Q&A. You've got 30 goals for Canada. I've got 30 questions, Q&A questions for rapid fire. Let's see how many we get to. Which goal for Canada do you think about the most? You've got 30. Have you got a favorite or one that you think about more than any other?
Maybe the one against Honduras in the World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah.
I think, you know, away game, difficult, a great goal. So
it was a great goal.
Yeah, so
yes.
Take this one.
Fraser goes long, pings one for David. Look at that control. Jonathan David!
What toppings do you like on pizza?
I don't know, chicken, pepperoni,
okay,
bacon, mushrooms. Yeah, so
meat lovers.
Yeah,
meat lovers pizza.
Yeah, just a regular pizza. Okay, really, nothing
nice.
too crazy.
What's your favorite dessert? What do you like to have? A little bit of cheat food.
It's a dessert I get from a restaurant called Montana's.
Yeah. Just
donuts with powder, and they have a caramel sauce that goes with it. So. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
a little cheat food,
good.
Right?
Yeah, very good.
When you're working out in Florida heat, you're allowed a little cheat.
Yeah.
Another giveaway. Ream. David through the legs. Larin to David!
If you got stuck in an elevator for 3 hours with 3 of your Canadian teammates, who would you want to be in there with you? You got to choose wisely.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Probably choose Alistair.
Okay.
Because I know he's going to want to get out of there, so he's going to be up there to find a solution. Probably Richie also. I think Richie, in a situation like this, he could be someone funny, you know, to lighten up the mood.
Yeah, I like that.
Maybe as a third one, maybe Liam. Yeah, because I think he would be a bit scared, worried. So then you have a bit of everything in there, a nice mix, so I like that.
It's Jonathan David, shakes up a man to Liam Miller. He's got David!
Favorite footballer growing up? Did you ever have a favorite footballer growing up?
Ronaldinho. That was mine. Yeah, I think he is for a lot of guys that grew up my age or a bit younger. I think what we saw him did on the pitch, always with a smile on his face, I think was a good example to follow.
Yeah, I love that. Number 10, right?
Yeah.
There you go. All right, next one I've got for you. Do you have a favorite goal you ever scored for Lille? You've got a lot of them there to think about.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't have really a favorite one.
No? One that stands out, like a big moment?
Yeah, the biggest was probably the game that we won the title my first season. I think that was probably the biggest one, but
yeah.
Every goal for me is a good memory, so hard to choose one.
You just got the next one, so I'm going to ask you this question. You said every goal is a good memory. Can you describe the feeling that you get when you score?
It's a bit of everything. It's a bit of joy, excitement, relief. I've asked a lot of people this, and yeah, for them, scoring is the greatest feeling you can get.
Okay.
I think in a game, it's where you can really disconnect from a little bit the game and take a moment for yourself and for the team.
We're going to have some fun on our panel here as we welcome you back. Andy, Jordan, John, and KJ. I have some rapid fire for you. That was Jonathan David, who leads Canada, the Canadian men's side, with 30 goals. So here's the question, Jordan, you're up first.
Rapid fire, like I just say my answer or the explanation?
Maybe a little bit of explanation.
Okay. No, I just wanted to know the rules. Okay.
How many goals, so he's at 30 now, how many goals for country do you think Jonathan David will finish with by the end of his career?
So Cristiano Ronaldo has 135, I believe, for Portugal.
Oh, going right to Ronaldo. Wow.
So hold on. So then you do a little subtraction. Go divide it by 2, then add a little. I think Homeboy is going to score 77 goals.
Okay.
For Canada. He's going to be in the 70 region. I'm going to say 77.
Okay, I mean, that your calculation, you started off strong and then confused me.
Don't worry about it.
I would just like to say, if I was in an elevator for 3 hours, you would be the 3 people I would choose.
Oh, what a little sucker.
Especially
there it is, buddy. Bring it home, Johnny.
But of the 3 of us, which one would be the Liam Miller, the scaredy cat?
Yeah. Well, that would be me.
Yeah, you'd be the one. All right, how many goals for Jonathan David?
Yeah, I'm right around where Jordan is. I'd probably say about 70, 65, 70. He doubles up for sure.
Give me a number, though. Like
65.
65.
Yeah, I was going to go around there. For the last 3 years, he's been scoring 1 in every 3, which is a great record. The top strikers in Europe and in the world and international football score that. I think he could play another 10 years. Canada is averaging about 12 caps, 12 games per season. He won't play every game, so 62, 63, something like that.
Okay, I like it. All right. I didn't come up with the number because it required some math, and I just couldn't be bothered with it. So the most important player for Canada not named Davies or David is KJ?
Wow, okay. The most important player not named Davies or David, as we see Jonathan David score all these goals, and he's been marvelous. I think the most important player is Stefan Eustáquio.
Oh.
And I didn't want to take anybody else's answer, so
no,
sorry about that. I just think there's nobody else like him for Canada. And look, we are in a really good period of time. You could argue that this is arguably one of the greatest teams Canada's ever put together. But it's a thin midfield, and there's not another Canadian on this planet right now who plays the game the way that Stefan Eustáquio plays. So wrap him up, keep him comfortable, no injuries, keep him there, and then June the 12th, 2026, let's have him outside here ready to go and play the World Cup, please.
Yeah.
I'm right with you there. I mean, it's got to be Eustáquio. He's the guy that links the front to the back. He's a leader. He's playing at the highest level. He comes in here and puts the work in. So for me, moving forward, he's the guy.
That was my answer a year ago.
Oh.
But like you do, every time I see you, you evolve. Honey, you evolve, honey.
Okay.
And you know where I'm at right now?
Where are you at?
Moise Bombito.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll say this about the 24-year-old. I'm not just on the hype train. I think specifically the way Jesse Marsch plays, that high line, you need someone athletic who is just a nightmare with attackers. He's bullying, throwing guys around, but that high line as well. Of course, Stefan Eustáquio is the nucleus, and he's a player that I love. We all should love. But I think the way that Jesse Marsch plays, Moise Bombito, could be that missing link that you need. I don't think this system could really thrive without a player like that and his capability.
Well, this will lead into my next question, because perhaps the most important player is somebody we don't know
Talk to me.
yet.
Oh, come on.
And I'm going to the starting goalkeeper position here, and this time I will start with the former goalkeeper here. Because we've seen Max Crepeau look great for Canada, but then we've also seen now Dane St. Clair be the guy who started leg 1, going to get the start here in leg 2. Starting goalkeeper at the 2026 World Cup will be?
Dane St. Clair.
Ooh,
Johnny.
Okay.
I just think.
Explain yourself.
You know, I think Crepeau's going to have some issues finding work, I think, in the next little bit. I think what happened at the end of the year at Portland for him is going to be an issue. He's going to need to find another club. I think Dane is still in the playoffs and still moving in the right direction with Minnesota. And if he continues to grow over the next 18 months or so, I don't see why he can't be the starting guy for 2026.
John, everything I know about goalkeepers I've learned from you in the short time that we've been friends. Max Crepeau has the big game moments for Canada over Dane St. Clair that I just feel like if he continues to have maybe 1 or 2 of those in the next window in the next 2 years, I think it will be his job. It's tough. It's about 2 meals that I enjoy. I love both of them. It's hard to pick one, but if you had to pick one, I think Crepeau might have the slight edge over Dane St. Clair going into 2026.
If I had to pick one, I'd have to pick Dane St. Clair because he's playing tonight. and it's his goal right now. And if you don't make mistakes, at some point Jesse Marsch has got to make the call. It's okay to say, oh, they're both 1A, 1B. I like them both exactly the same. At some point, you've got to make that decision. And he's not made that decision yet. The only other thing I would say is that I really, and this is a massive, different name, but I really like Tom McGill. I really like him a lot. And I just would say, just keep an eye on him. Just keep an eye. He's playing high level in England, and I've liked a lot of what his game has been for some time. Just keep an eye on that.
But to start, though, KJ?
Just keep an eye on it.
All right.
Yeah, just keep an eye on it. It is the
He's
one...
saying there's a dark horse, my friend.
It's the one area on the field right now that is not, I don't think, taken by for sure by anyone at the moment.
Yeah.
It's all up in the air.
Yeah, I agree with that. I went with one of the two because I thought were our choices, but I like the McGill shout. It might be a flyer. Like, there could be somebody coming in. They may be doing their homework, finding somebody that has lineage in Canada and may be able to get a passport and maybe become available, who's a goalkeeper who may come in and do the job.
But he's got a great chance staying Sinclair tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight. It starts tonight.
It is a big one.
Because I know it feels like it's far away, but it really is in 2026 World Cup. At some point, you're shoring things up, right? All right, so we've seen the rise of 16-year-old Shola Jimo. If you haven't, then you've got to be watching the Canadian Premier League. Obviously playing for York United, looked great, scored an incredible goal as well to tie things up in a playoff game, sending that one into extra time, ultimately PKs. And here's the thing, he got called in to the men's national team camp a few weeks ago. So here's my question on this young 16-year-old. Shola Jimo will make Jordan his Canadian senior national team debut at the age of?
18. 18. Okay. I love this kid. I love that as well, that he's on the EYT contract, the Exceptional Youth Talent contract in the CPL. And that York United had the wisdom to lock him into 2026 and have options to 2027. You want to know why that's great? Because they're going to make some moolah off the young man. He will not be here at that time. I love the way that he's humble. I love the way that he just approaches the game. I even talked to Ricardo Pasquale this week. Took me out to a nice dinner. Thank you for that. You know, money's tight. Yeah, bless him. Okay. But just speaking about the player, he's a guy that moves like a footballer, does the little things that you need, the little bonuses, grabbing players at the right time when the ref's not looking. He lives and breathes football. What I will say for the young man, just keeping his feet on the ground. Don't let the hype get to you. When you're 16 and you're still in high school and we're talking about physics and chemistry and all that, he's still going to those classes, right? Still trying to get his diploma. If he keeps his feet on the ground and stays humble and works hard, he will be playing here in less than 24 months.
But that's the trick, right?
That is absolutely the trick, and I can't agree with you more with your last statement. I think the overhype that media and everybody does is a big, big problem. And I saw it at Toronto FC, KJ, with players that have come through. They've sort of started sipping their own Kool-Aid at times, and they never really progressed and made it a real big impact with the first team. Let this kid develop. Give him a chance to grow. Give him a chance to understand the game better. And if we put this on him, I mean, the only way you can go is fail, because we build him up and build him up. And, we just need to be careful with this. Let him go out. Let him develop. Listen, I will say this. The biggest positive for me in all this is that Jesse Marsch is watching the CPL. Jesse Marsch is watching the young players and bringing them in and putting them in this environment and giving them a chance to see what it's like. Going home and going, man, I need to do this better because this is what they do in these camps. This is what these players do in Europe to get better. And I think that's the biggest positive for me.
Yeah, one of the best stories in Canadian soccer in the men's game this year has been Kwesi Poku. He's 5 years older than Shola Jimo. So let's just put it in perspective, right? Yeah. So I think, the other thing I would say is maybe 3 years. The national team at some point has to be a mountain that's worth climbing. And it can't be handed out as a free pass. Here you go, there's your ticket to get to the top. It's got to be a difficult path. And if this national team is to progress and where they are right now, it's got to be, I've got to want to earn that and get there. We can't be just handing out tickets to people, to John's point, to then, okay, he's going to make it. Now, I don't think he's built that way, but this is a kid who's not played, 11 professional games yet, right? Yeah. So, let's just, ease it a little bit.
Yeah.
Pump the brakes.
He's a special talent. He's a great kid as well.
And we'd love to watch him play. And while he will wait for his opportunity with the Canadian senior national team, when you talk about Jonathan Osorio, he was just shy of his 21st birthday when he made his senior team debut back in May of 2013. Now his role has changed over the years, and when we return, we explore the leader he has become with Team Canada. As you're watching Matchday Live, it's Canada versus Suriname, Concacaf Nations League quarterfinal on OneSoccer.
what makes a Burnbrae egg a Burnbrae egg. For generations, we've put more goodness in, so you get a whole lot more out of every single delicious egg. A lot goes into a little at Burnbrae Farms.
What you doing up there, buddy?
Observing, helping. You could take note.
And the elf costume?
What about it? Need a nutcracker? Oh, this one goes to 11. Yeah. Fuzzy, they'll love it. Susan, that green really makes your eyes pop.
Need help with decorations?
It's a bit much.
This ultimate mouth-watering moment is brought to you by the big, bold, ultimate taste of Ultimate Chicken Hot Dogs, only from Maple Lodge Farms.
Degree, 72-hour non-stop protection. Antiperspirant with motion sense. Tested to the limit. Degree, keeps working when others stop.
Welcome back to Matchday Live here on OneSoccer, Canada versus Suriname. And if Jonathan Osorio gets in to the match tonight, he will move into sole possession of 4th place. And what a great opportunity that would be for him on the most capped players list. And Jonathan Osorio has also grown into a leadership position as he explores more of that with KJ.
I don't feel young coming into this group anymore, or I feel young. I'm not young coming into this group anymore, but honestly, I'm embracing that.
Finds Davies. Inside, Osorio! Oh, so good! Jonathan Osorio levels it for Canada!
A lot of people, I guess, talk about the brotherhood that we established in our last cycle before Qatar. We still have that here. But the special thing here now is, I think, the belief of, we are who we think we are.
Jonathan Osorio, you're going to a World Cup. How does that sound?
I'm speechless. The dream come true. The dream. We all dreamed of this as little kids. And as a Canadian, that was impossible. That was impossible. And today, the impossible happened. It's an incredible feeling.
There's just a belief that, we can, on any day, compete with the very best. And I think we proved that at Copa America and with some of the friendlies that we've played. And that has led to a real belief and intensity inside the team that I think is only going to suit us really well moving forward. These are moments for us to really prove to ourselves and prove to everybody, really, that we are on the rise and we're a really good team. Jesse makes it very clear what he wants from his team, but of course he allows you to be yourself within that system, as long as you stick to certain principles that relate to the collective of the team. But within that, you're able to express yourself and be you, and you don't have to really prove yourself to Jesse. You just need to be the best yourself. And yeah, your opportunity will come under him. And he's given guys, a lot of confidence, You've seen new guys come into the lineup and be able to perform. And that's a credit to the boss, instilling that confidence in everybody and making sure that everybody's ready. it's also about, really pushing and helping and supporting the leaders that we have in this team right now in their primes. I think that's important, especially going into this World Cup and even further after.
David brings that down expertly. David across, off the bar and in. Junior Hoylett.
It's an honor, man. It's an honor to be a part of this program now and where we have came from. It's been incredible, and it just keeps getting better. And so, like I told you, I'm day to day, just living in the present and trying to enjoy every moment. And yeah, really looking forward to what's ahead with this team.
John, you've had a front row seat to Osorio's evolution, and in particular, how he's grown into a leader because of those he's learned from.
Yeah, I think a lot of times some leaders are born, some people it's a learned trait, in my opinion. And in Oso's case, he's able to learn from great players in his span at Toronto FC. Michael Bradley, Victor Vasquez, Benoit Giroux, Drew Moore, all guys that are leaders in their own right. And he's able to learn and glean information from them and learn to be the leader that he is now and provide that role for this team going forward, and has done that, but continue to provide that. KJ?
Yeah, I mean, I've had the privilege of knowing him for a long time. The thing that doesn't get talked about enough with Osorio for me is how mentally tough he is. And I'm sorry, I don't see that enough in a lot of Canadian young players, and I've seen it in him for over 10 years. And the more Canadians that can follow Jonathan Osorio's path when it comes to mentality, the more we're going to see out here playing for Canada for a long time. If you don't, you're not going to get there, because he's very aware of his strengths, but he's almost more as aware of his weaknesses. And he knows exactly what he can do and what he can't do. For example, he knows he doesn't need to start every game now. Jesse Marsch told me yesterday, he's brilliant at coming onto the pitch and making a difference right away. It's not taking time to get onto the field. He knows when he puts him on the field in minute 60, minute 65, minute 89, minute 45, it doesn't matter. He's going to switch on and be ready as if he's starting the game. And you don't get that out of everything else. The other thing, too, he's a leader and he's accountable as well. This is what you need with players. When you're building squads, you need people who are accountable to receive feedback, negative or positive, and not sulk. So his mentality is crucial for this team, and that's why he's going to be around for a long time.
The highest praise I can give Osorio, I remember back in 2012 when he was SC Toronto, playing semi-pro, right? And then the year after, obviously, he went to TFC. But for him, growing up and playing against him, and everyone who knows, he was a talented player. But with talented players, what happens, things come easy. To go and be dedicated and diligent and learn that later on in life is very difficult to do. Everyone knows that player that was young and was killing it and then peaked at 19. Every year, Jonathan Osorio comes back hungrier and works and works. And for me, that's why he gets all the praise.
Great teammate, great leader here with the Canadian national soccer team. So Oso, once again, will look to take over the sole possession of fourth if he gets into tonight's match, Canada versus Suriname. This is the second leg of the Concacaf Nations League quarterfinal. Canada victorious in leg one, 1-0. They'll look to seal the deal here tonight. Little chilly. The coats are out, the hats are out, but still the beverages are flowing and the fans are filling up BMO Field in Toronto, Ontario.
I wanna run back to you. All I wanna do is run back to you and make my dreams come true. The only thing I ever do is run right back to you.
When the stakes are high, only the TELUS 5G network delivers.
Allstate and its 900 agents proudly support Canadian soccer at every level. Visit allstate.ca.
This ultimate mouth-watering moment is brought to you by the big, bold, ultimate taste of Ultimate Chicken Hot Dogs. Only from Maple Lodge Farms.
Life's better with extra space. Space for family. Space for memories. Space for you. Try 4 weeks free. Access Storage, proud partner of Canada Soccer.
CanadaSoccerStore.com is the official home for the widest range of Canada Soccer licensed products, match jerseys, and fanwear.
Welcome back to Matchday Live inside BMO Field. Canada versus Suriname. Here's Canada's starting 11, brought to you by GE. A couple changes. Kyle Larin comes back into the starting 11. Schwaner will get the start in that midfield over Kone. Kamal Miller back there in the center back position. Joel Waterman was in leg one. He'll sit this one to start. And Dane St. Clair back in goal for Canada. He also started in leg one against Suriname. Moise Bombito, who's become a star on this team in that center back position, normally with Derek Cornelius, but he's dealing with an injury right now. He caught up with KJ earlier.
Moise, your last competitive game here against Suriname in this leg. What's the most important thing you're thinking about when you start the game today?
To us, and especially the back line, is to keep a clean sheet. In order to go through, we just have to not concede goals. So my main focus is to hold it down, me and my back line the best as we can to prevent all of their counterattacks from just in moments. And yeah, keep it to 0 for them for sure.
You've played a lot of games this year, but many outside of Canada. How special is it to come back to Canada to play?
It's always good to play in front of my family and friends, to represent my country on our home soil. It's always a pleasure and a proud moment for me. So I'll just have to let it all sink in and do the best I can to give a good performance in front of our fans.
You get a new partner in Kamal tonight. How much are you looking forward to playing with him?
Kamal has been a tremendous partner to play with. Before, when I was playing as a 6 in our Gold Cup in 2023, and he's got that experience in him. He's played the World Cup, so I'll try my best to make it as smooth as possible for him, and he'll make it smooth for me as well. So I'm really excited.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's talk about his partner in Kamal Miller, because KJ, he is getting his first start under Jesse Marsch. What are you expecting?
Well, it's a big night. He's really the one who suffered the most out of the ones who've been regular players since the Jesse Marsch hire has come on. You think about almost that class of 2021, Alistair Johnston and Kamal Miller, Tajon Buchanan. You could throw Ostatio in there who played his second cap that year. And many of them just shine together, playing every game together almost. This is a player played every minute of the World Cup, was playing in the Nations League semi-final and final. Was a regular starter, brought balance. And Jesse Marsch came in and said, I'm sorry, I think he's a liability right now. So it was on him to start to turn it around. He's got to be aggressive. And when speaking to Jesse Marsch, he says, Kamal's really happy in possession and likes to praise himself when he's making those passes, but he needs to be more aggressive. And I'll turn to my centre-back partner, Jordan Wilson, here, because I think you're the best to speak about this, but it's a big night for him defensively, not always just what he does with the ball.
Massive night, because he has to be high. We were on that call. Jesse Marsch said, look, the system, everyone has to be close. There cannot be a 20-yard gap between Ostatio and Kamal Miller. He needs to press up, so if Canada loses the ball, they're able to win it back. You're so right, KJ. Everyone has made strides under Jesse Marsch. They've understood his philosophy. And you see it sometimes, John. Some people are a bit late to the party. Kamal has exceptional qualities. On the ball, 1v1 defending, his intensity. You want a player like that blocking shots and getting in front of attackers, for sure. But you need to show that you can do things in the right moment. Tonight is the right moment. You're running out of time. You have to go and show that quality so that Jesse Marsch, when he looks to the bench or he looks at his squad, Kamal Miller's a name he knows and trusts.
You know, for me, it's just Kamal Miller needs to defend, right? Too many times now we talk about defenders and, oh, they're good on the ball, or, oh, they can pass. Between Bombito and Cornelius, they defend. They track balls down, they block balls, and you see the pride they take in that. For me, I need to see that out of Kamal Miller tonight. I need to see him working hard defensively, making blocks, and putting that energy that those guys have put in, and really show that he's going to be that next guy in the line if one of those guys go down.
If we look at the opposite end, though, John, and Kyle Larin, he shook off an injury. He started on the bench leg one, but did come in eventually. What does he add to this lineup when he's starting?
Yeah, he needs to get goals. I mean, the partnership between him and David, they've been working well together. Tonight's another night where they need to go out and be aggressive offensively and get goals and get in front of goal and finish chances. And tonight's a great opportunity for him at home to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, I'd be interested to watch a couple of things. First of all, both David and Laren start a game. They both got 30 goals. They start a game together for the 30th time for Canada tonight, so that's a bit of a round number for them. The other thing is just to keep an eye on fitness. We know he's not 100%. I saw in training he's been individually working. He didn't start last week because he's got, we've told, a little bit of a hamstring issue. We'll see. I don't believe he just get over that right away, so we'll be interested to see whether that is a bit of a limitation for him. But defensively, the way they work together, him and Jonathan David, even with and without the ball, has been exceptional.
Yeah, that's the tandem. That's the chemistry. But you asked, what does he add? I think security. On the ball, but in that press. I think what he brings in terms of the way he's on the front foot. But that frame, it's not even just that he's big. The fact that he knows when to hold up the ball, when to lay it off, that's usually the success because it gives confidence for David, for Schafferberg, for Ahmed, for players like that to link up. So he, for me, when he gets all that hate about players, oh, why are you playing this guy because he's just defensive, he doesn't score goals, he allows other players to be better, and that's why Jesse Marsch puts him in the squad.
What's impressed you about Matthew Schwaner, and here he is getting the start over Kone in that midfield, just kind of also knowing that MLS journey and CF Montreal and knowing that he wanted to move on and now being a little bit more of a stalwart here with the Canadian national team. What do you make of his starting 11 position now?
I like that. For me, the match that really did it was that match in September against the U.S. where he played exceptional, ran his socks off, and the Canadians beat them 2-1. But I think for me, if you ask most coaches, what they would say is, I want a midfielder that's adaptable. If we're going to play this way, he can adapt to it. If we're going to keep the ball in possession, he's going to adapt to it. Schwaner has done that, and I think that's why he's earned the start tonight. Because he's not a player that's just coming in and saying, well, I like to keep the ball, KJ. I want to play tiki-taka. I'm a ball retention type of midfielder. He's like, no, I'm going to work my socks off. I'm going to work for the badge. And that's why he's getting that start.
Well, to your point earlier about Kamal Miller trying to get the trust in Jesse Marsch, Matthew Schwaner earned that trust against Uruguay in the Copa America. He was exceptional in that game, and then he gets the start against, when Kone goes down, he's the one who gets the start against Mexico and then the U.S. And now he doesn't pick Kone, which is a big call. Kone's fine, okay? He's not injured. He's fine. This is a big-time player who sometimes gets a little bit lackadaisical for Canada, sometimes plays with a little bit of a high back, and it's all relaxed. and I love that about him. But this is a bit of a wake-up call for that guy too, no, John? I mean, Ismail Kone is going to be a regular star for Canada, and suddenly, hold on, Schwaner's playing instead of you? No disrespect. He's a fine player. But that, again, speaks to Canada in terms of, hold on, we've got some competition for places here.
I love the competition, and I love Jesse has the ability to move guys around and pull guys out and rotate. And I think in this case, it's simple. Fresh legs and energy. I mean, that's what Schwaner is going to bring, and that's what he's going to put on the field tonight, and that's what they need to really start this game on the front foot.
I don't think Jesse Marsch is scared at all to send messages to his players either. We already had this discussion about goalkeeping, and Max Crepeau's been excellent for the team, but perhaps other decisions with the pro game, and here he is going with Dane St. Clair and making these decisions to, again, put Schwaner in over Kone. He is not afraid to send a message that 2026 is around the corner. We got to go. Speaking of then, when it comes to Tajon Buchanan, it was so great to see him get substituted into that leg one against Suriname, coming back from that broken leg. How many more minutes would you like him to see getting here off the bench?
I think with Tajon coming in, he's probably going to play 20 today and finish the match. I like when he came out against Suriname because you could see that he's just trying to get his legs under him, John. He's doing the step overs. You're seeing Tajon swag coming back. But look, this is a guy I am confident from now till 2026, he will be that guy. He will be a dangerous player, whether it be coming off the bench, whether it be starting matches. What he has in him, in his DNA, the fact that he can run at players, the fact that he is diverse, he's deceptive, that's a dream for Jesse Marsch, specifically in this system. I know he'll be there, he just needs a little bit of time.
Keep easing him back in. Keep easing him back into the environment, easing him back into the lineup with the group, easing him back into the understanding of what Jesse wants from him, and he'll have another opportunity to come in as a sub and do the work and show that he can do it on a more regular basis going forward.
Yeah, this is the big player for me between now and June 12, 2026 in terms of the evolution of what he can provide. Look, he was Canada's best player in Qatar. He was their best player. And then he comes away from the World Cup, and then the natural, ups and downs of evolution of a player, gets dropped in the Nations League from the semi-final to the final by John Herdman, then starts 3 games under Jesse Marsch, then gets dropped because of form, then gets his broken leg. So it's been difficult for him mentally, right? Now he's at a team where you're like, hold on, how's he going to get in that side right now, by the way? Is he going to have to go out on loan and figure this out? But throw that all away, Canada is better when he starts. They need him on the field, and they need to get him ready. So I'm excited to see him get minutes tonight, and I think he'll shine when he gets on.
very speedy player, and if there's one thing even Herdman recognizes, that as much as he contributed offensively, he was the type of player that would get back defensively. Already at such a young age, understanding how to be well-rounded. Well, let's take a look at the starting 11 of their competition here, Suriname. This is brought to you by GE. That first leg, we all saw it to be disjointed. It wasn't as pretty as perhaps we would have liked it to be. Yes, Canada, though, coming away with the victory, and Suriname not getting a shot on target in that first half. What are you expecting from them, though, KJ?
Well, I heard Stanley Menzo's interview when he arrived at the stadium, and he dropped. It wasn't quite the "Do you believe in miracles" line, but there was a bit, there was a "We need a miracle" line in there somewhere. I'm not sure if he's aware of Al Michaels, but I'm aware of Stanley Menzo, what a great goalie he was in the years ago at Ajax. And I think he's going to need his great goalie to be big tonight if he's going to do it. He said, "Look, we need to get some goals and stop them from scoring." He knows how big this is. Look, for them, it's got to be keeping the tie as long as you can possibly be.
Yeah, I see it playing out pretty much the same way as it did on Friday night. Defensively, hold it down, commit fouls, break the game up, don't let Canada get any real rhythm, get into the game, make it real difficult, and try and sneak one.
Canada score first, there's 3 or 4 they're giving them tonight. So it's just about the start. Like I look at Suriname, the way they went forward, it was a bit hopeful. There wasn't really direction. Canada score in the first half chills, it's over.
I do like, though, how KJ brings in a little hockey connection here with soccer. After all,
I love my hockey.
We're in the winter months. You still have, you got to bring in the sport that is mostly played during the winter months. Yeah, but I'm just saying, the Canadians, though, it can be a little rough and tumbly out there on the pitch, but they don't give in to what Suriname could possibly try and do here, which is get under their skin. And we've been praising Richie Larea this entire time, how they seem to try to go after him, but he's saying, I'm not giving in. Cooler heads prevail on this Canadian team. The fans have piled inside BMO Field in Toronto, Ontario, getting set to cheer on their team for a clean sheet. You heard Moise Bombito say it. A victory will send them to the Concacaf Nations League Final Four.
Gatorade, with electrolytes to help replenish what's lost in sweat, carbs to help fuel your working muscles, and fluids to help you hydrate. Scientifically formulated so you never stop competing.
I do this for my town, my time, my time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Rehydrate, replenish, refuel. Gatorade.
Canadian soccer fans, we're different. We cheer on the Reds while cheering out our motherlands and each other's lands. Soccer is in our hearts. Our roots are on display. Not to divide, but to unite. Because to us, soccer's more than just a game. It's who we are. From coast to coast to coast, it connects us all. Cheers to us. Cheers to the game.
What makes a Burnbrae egg a Burnbrae egg? For generations, we've put more goodness in, so you get a whole lot more out of every single delicious egg. A lot goes into a little at Burnbrae Farms.
Well, if you can't tell by our graphic, BMO Field has been a fortress. Yes, David, and also defending the fortress. But it really has been when you start to look at the numbers since September 2010, a defeat to Peru. They've played 24 games, 16 wins, 7 draws. And in fact, when they did lose last year, that's the one game we referred to where they were bringing the 1-goal lead into the second leg of the quarterfinals of Concacaf Nations League against Jamaica. They lost that. They were on a 7-game unbeaten streak. at BMO Field when they ultimately ended up losing that. And of course, they've been back to their winning ways inside BMO Field in Toronto, Ontario. Once again, they have the 1-goal lead now going into the second leg, this time against Suriname. Kickoff is just around the corner. Andy Petrillo, Jordan Wilson, John Conway, and Christian Jack with you. How important, KJ, is this win today when it comes to also seeding for the semifinals?
Yes, it is important. It feels a little bit like putting the cart before the horse. You know, we just noticed one year ago today when many people thought they were already getting through. So, look, I presented this to Jesse Marsch yesterday in the press conference, and I expected the standard line, Suriname will be tough, and we're not thinking about that. I got the standard line, but then I also got a different answer as well, saying that, look, if the scenario presents itself in the second half, we will be thinking about that. Now, we know the U.S. are in, goal difference of +3, 5-2. We know Panama are in, goal difference of +1. They all get ranked, and after this Mexico-Honduras game tonight as well, to that point, you don't want to be playing the U.S. in the semifinals. And I don't think they will be if they just get the job done tonight, John. But it just becomes a little bit of a game within the game.
I just think it just needs to be a positive step again under the Jesse Marsch era. Let's just keep moving this thing forward. Let's get another good result. Let's move on to the next round. Let's be positive at home. Let's be attractive at home. Let's be aggressive at home. And let's move on and get to the Nations League semifinals. And I think that would be the big thing for me tonight. Another positive step in the right direction.
I think also Jesse Marsch is saying, too, like, you see a lot of matches where there's 2 goals scored for Canada, or they score first and the other team scores as well. Can we get 3 or 4? But yeah, I'm greedy. But can we? Like, as a nation, you're looking at the teams and you're looking at the areas. Can you go out and score 3, KJ?
Well, look, I will say this. I think chance creation, they're going to create the chances, right? And Jesse Marsch has been asking since day one, not recently, since day one, we need to be better, him saying we need to be better at creating more chances, and he's used the word ruthless. Let's be more ruthless. And what do we have? Jonathan David and Kyle Larin up front with their 30 goals apiece. Jonathan David, arguably one of the biggest informed strikers in Europe, playing a little bit deeper for Canada than he does for his club. So they have the weapons on the field. I look for Schaffelberg and Ahmed. They haven't been spoken about in the show. Can they deliver and have better performances than they did in the first leg?
That's where I'm at with Schaffelberg. Listen, he does such a good job of using his pace and getting by defenders and creating a gap that's big enough to get a cross in. My problem with Jacob is that when he does that, he almost slows up sometimes and allows the defender to recover, and you see a lot of blocked crosses. He needs to be just better in that movement, create the gap, and get the ball across, and not even think about it. I think a lot of times he's putting himself in a position and he's thinking too much of trying to pick somebody out. We should eliminate that, just have him hit 3 areas. If he's down by the end line, you're either hitting hard near, you're hitting the penalty spot, or you're doing a little dink to the back post. And the job for the forwards are to get to one of those 2 spots, and Estacio will come in and get to the penalty spot. Yeah. You know, if he's farther out, then he creates the gap and whip it behind the back line. And Jonathan David and Kyle Larin know, get to those points. And I think you make it simple and get it there.
And if your wide players can go high, maybe you can get a Larea in midfield, and we can see a different version of a back 3 to control that midfield as well. So keep an eye on that today as well.
Can we get a whiteboard for you guys? Can you just draw?
Let's let them talk.
And go here, and then the X.
We have a game to get to.
Yeah, we do have a game to get to. This is a big one. And you know what? With a lot of that when it comes to goal scoring, how much of that, too, is incumbent on the coach and how he plays those players. Because remember, he told us that he had David, he had Larin kind of playing a little further back before when they were trying to get their defensive form. What I say right now is unleash the goal scorers.
Canada's men's national team on OneSoccer is brought to you by Toyota.
Who's driving?
Felix. Susantia.
Their safety is important, especially when you can't be there. It matters to you. It matters to us.
What you doing up there, buddy?
Observing, helping. You could take note.
And the elf costume?
What about it?
Need a nutcracker?
Oh, this one goes to 11.
Yeah.
Fuzzy, they'll love it. Susan, that green really makes your eyes pop.
Need help with decorations?
It's a bit much.
This is not just laundry. This is laundry that's one and done.
This is the ultra-fast combo laundry machine that does both washing and drying cycles, so you can take a load off. This is cleaning large loads in about 2 hours. No more checking, no more forgetting. Profile is revolutionizing laundry, making any room the laundry room. This is GE Profile.
Degree, 72-hour non-stop protection. Antiperspirant with motion sense. Tested to the limit. Degree, keeps working when others stop.
Allstate and its 900 agents proudly support Canadian soccer at every level. Visit allstate.ca.
Welcome to the final match of 2024 for Canada. Back home, back at it at BMO Field in Toronto, Ontario. This is the Concacaf Nations League. Canada with a 1-0 Friday over Suriname sets the stage tonight. That hasn't won a trophy since the Gold Cup back in the